Just in relation to page 147, the budget papers concerning tobacco plain packaging litigation. So, in reference to that budget measure, can you explain why the cost of litigation or the provision for litigation hasn't been published?
Commercial and confidence.
It's been since the litigation has commenced, Senator. Those figures, by decisions of the previous government and the current government, have been not for publication, so as to also provide a potential tactical advantage to the industry in terms of the resources that the Australian government is putting into the defence of its plain packaging legislation.
Could you expand on that a little bit more? How that might be the case?
Well, they would then know potentially the level of funding and support going into the legal teams and the like, and that's something that we wouldn't want to give away.
Essentially, Senator, you don't want to provide any indication to the opposition about what your tactics are going to be. I mean, they are playing seriously dirty. And it is not our intention to give them any opportunity for advantage, and this is one of the things.
So, look, I obviously appreciate that, what you're saying, being in Parliament House myself.
Well, they're not in Parliament House.
No, but I understand where you're coming from. But is this because you feel it's possible they may be able to outspend you legally?
Anything's possible, Senator.
If you don't commit enough
certainly that's one of the things.
To the. Okay, so who actually makes that decision? Is that made by yourself, Professor Hamilton?
In terms of the non-publication?
In terms of the non-publication?
That was certainly the view of the department under the previous government, and that view was agreed by the relevant people in the previous government. We put that view to this government, they agreed as well. Okay,
but there's no act or legislation surrounding the disclosure of that?
No.
It's at the discretion of the Minister?
It's a decision of government.
Okay. Will it be released at some point in the future?
Undoubtedly, when we finish the case, those matters... Cases. When we finish the cases, there's no doubt that there will be a public interest in disclosing how much that's cost. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I mean...
That would be a fairly standard process with legal cases of this kind, would it not? Yeah.
Although, to be honest, Chair, that this is the first time our country's been sued under an ISDS clause. So I don't know if there
that's
is a
why I
standard.
used of this kind, because there are plenty of other areas where government departments or others groups may have faced.
Sadly, Senator, we do get into litigation with a few different parties in this portfolio.
I appreciate you do, but just in terms of an ISDS clause, this is without precedent. And I suppose the reason I'm asking the question about disclosure is because we are negotiating other deals at the moment that include ISDS clauses, and I think it's a matter of public interest.
Senator,
as an example,
I can assure you that inside government I've been quite vocal about the implications of ISDS clauses and the costs.
I hope you have too, because you're obviously at the front end of that.
Be assured.
Okay. Could I just clarify? Obviously, I know about Philip Morris, but in terms of your words, the measure description refers to tobacco companies with an S. Has there been any other litigation instigated, or is it still just Philip Morris?
Well, we continue to receive freedom of information requests as well, Senator.
From other parties?
From other parties, some representing the interests of tobacco companies.
Yep.
We also, part of that decision relates to companies that were involved in the High Court case back in 2011-12 as well, Senator.
Because there was three of them, wasn't there, originally? Or?
There was Japan Tobacco, Imperial Tobacco, Philip Morris and British American Tobacco. There were the four.
Four, sorry.
That's correct.
Okay. So, I mean, you can't disclose it, but have you had to change your provision, your provision for litigation?
We can't disclose that, Senator.
Okay. Could I then ask, given your comments, Professor Elton, about ISDS, have you or your department or someone directly provided input to DFAT?
Yes.
Around your concerns that you've raised here?
Correct. And I've discussed it with a number of my health colleagues from around the world, most recently in Geneva last week.
Great, okay. Thank you very much. That's all.